Anthropic just did 3 things last week that every product manager needs to understand. First, they killed third-party access to Claude subscriptions. Then they went ahead and teased a model called Mythos, which they themselves felt was too dangerous to ship to public. And finally, they quietly released something called as managed agents, which if you as a product manager are building AI features right now, it's essential for you to know what managed agents are. Now, I've spent 3 hours on this thing. I have built agents, broken them, understood what works, what doesn't, and that is why I've created this 12-minute video for you to understand everything about it. What it is not, what's the cost associated, and especially when can you apply this in your existing workflow as a product manager. So strap in and let's dive deep into managed agents by Anthropic. First, let's understand why this matters so much. Because this isn't just a feature release, it's actually a broader strategy play here by Anthropic. So we now understand that Anthropic did 3 moves in 1 week. Let's break them down one by one. First was to block third-party access to Claude Max subscriptions. So what you could do as a third-party app is you could harness the power of Claude's models and have a wrapper built around it. So tools like OpenClaw were doing amazing using that, considering Claude's models are some of the most powerful. And then you have a third-party wrapper on top of it, and you can build tools like OpenClaw, which were going viral. Now that free ride has ended. Move 2 was that they announced that they have actually developed a model so powerful called Claude Mythos, which they feel scared to release to public themselves. Now this is classic Anthropic, where they tease you. They did the same with Opus, where they tease you that the model is so powerful, it's almost like AGI, and hey, we're not going to give it to you just yet because we're scared it might change too much. Now, whether you buy it or not, that sets the stage. That feels that something big is coming from the house of Anthropic towards your computers. And move 3, and probably the most important for product managers, is managed agents. Now, this is where you can build, run, deploy AI agents without touching a single piece of infrastructure. Now, these moves are not random. What Claude or Anthropic is telling us is that they want us to build AI agents. AI agents are the future. But they want control of the platform and the infrastructure you use to build it. What Claude wants to do is it wants to be the central piece where all these AI agents are built from. Very similar to what companies like Razorpay, etc. did, where they migrated everyone from custom checkout to their standard checkout. Now what this means is that majority of Razorpay's checkouts now happen on their own platform. So it's the same strategy that once you start owning everything about AI agents, you create a dependency, and that leads to strategic benefit and eventually business benefit for Anthropic. So that's the larger strategy play around these 3 moves. Now, let me break down managed agents for you to get started. Before managed agents, to ship an AI agent to production, you would need to do a bunch of things. You would need to spin up the servers, manage the API keys, write the OAuth flows, build observability from scratch, handle scaling, a bunch of things that you would require to do. And usually this would mean that the infra would require the involvement of a technical lead, and that's where your Jira tickets would get dumped in the backlog. But now, after agents or after managed agents from Claude, this has become a single prompt, right? A single prompt written in English is enough for you to build out a production-ready AI agent. This is a similar moment to what a Stripe or a Razorpay have done for payments. Before them, you need to worry about a bunch of things when you're collecting payments. You need to worry about compliance, you need to worry about refunds, retry logics, what happens when gateways are down, and so on and so forth. Now, with these 2 companies or several other payment companies, what they've done is they've given you a standard checkout, which handles everything from scratch. You don't have to worry about a single thing, just integrate their 4 lines of code and you're done. Managed Agents by Anthropic is doing the same thing but for AI agents, which means that it has made managing or deploying or running production-grade AI agents as simple as writing a prompt. We'll now see how these managed agents actually work. Anthropic has claimed that it enables you to ship things 10 times faster, which is quite a tall claim. We're now going to test that claim against what is the reality. All right, let's dive deep into this. Step 1 of making an AI agent using managed agents is English, right? The first step is describe. you describe what you want to Claude using their quick start guide. I'll show you live on my screen share as well in a bit. But basically, in simple English, describe the AI agent that you want to develop. Step 2 is generate. Claude goes ahead and generates a simple system prompt for you. It also suggests which model to use, picks you the right tools, and basically gives you a clean configuration file that is ready to use or ready to deploy. Step 3 is environment. Anthropic then spins up a little sandbox cloud container, which basically is a little computer that belongs to your agent, and you can choose how locked down or how secure you want this to be. For enterprises, when you only have access to specific tools, you can tell the environment to restrict usage to only and only these tools. This is what makes it super secure and very, very applicable towards enterprises where there are tool level restrictions as well. Step 4 is connect, and this is where they've made it super simple. Earlier, you used to write the entire OAuth. You need to find the API keys and so on and so forth. Now it's just a sign in. Sign in via Google, your ClickUp account, Slack, basically a user interface based sign in that ensures that your agent now has access to data of your account. As simple as that. Step 5 is to finally run this. You run your AI agent with a chat interface, you debug it with full observability, and then deploy it to production with a simple API endpoint. That's it. Anthropic also released a video where they talked about how the teams at Notion are already using managed agents. So this means that this is already battle tested at a large organization like Notion. What they do is that they simply change the status of a task, and then Claude's agent actually picks it up from there and runs its code on it. It's unbelievably simple and unbelievably powerful. Imagine you're a PM at Swiggy. You can create a customer request triage agent, which basically automatically fetches all the agent requests into a section, figures out which one to pick, changes the status of that on Jira, and that's it. You actually have automated 50, 60, 70% of your manual work. So powerful. All right, so here we go. Now I'm going to share my screen and actually show you how this agent works. So this is platform.claude.com, which is the place where managed agents are. You can see them here. It says new. Quick start is what I'm going to use. Now, there are a few templates that Claude have given already. You can choose to use them, but we're going to try and build something from scratch. So let's go ahead and say that, hey, I want to build an agent that takes meeting transcripts and pushes them to ClickUp for action items. Very simple use case. Now, look what Claude is going to do. So on the right, as you can see, it's coming up with a config profile. It's given it a name, the model that you're going to use, a nice system prompt, and you can continue to refine this, or you can create this agent. Now, the moment this agent gets created, it will basically set up all of these things and ask me to check out the environment. Now, this is very, very important, especially for enterprise compliance, because you want to make sure that the agent does not have access to everything. So that's where I'm going to configure environment, and I'm going to tell this agent that you can only and only use the ClickUp MCP. That's it, nothing else. So it's going to ask me that, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to, these are my older ones that I had created. So I just want to create a new one, a new environment for this because this is going to go to production. And then it's going to ask me, hey, do you want to start the session? So there it is. So now I'm going to just click on starting the session. And this is where I will have to connect my ClickUp account from this. So of course, it's going to basically look at this, and then it's going to ask me to connect my ClickUp account. Very, very simple process. So there it is. It says, where should I store these credentials? I'll just store it in my production MCP vault. You can create a new one as part of this. And just once you say that I'm the owner and confirm, it's now going to go to ClickUp, ask you to log in there, and that's it. So let's do that. So it's of course saying that I'm going to add credentials for ClickUp, connect, opens a new tab that shows ClickUp, that says connect ClickUp. We'll just select this workspace and connect workspace. That's it. Now remember, earlier you had to do all the API keys, OAuth credentials, so much of changes and everything to actually make this work. But now this is so quick. So as you can see, it's now authorized, everything is set up. Now this entire agent is set up and is production ready. So let's do a test run. So here it's actually created a test transcript as well for me. I just have to hit send and that's it. I'm going to hit send, and now it's actually going to go ahead and it's recovered the transcript. So now the user has said this, the session is running, right? So remember, you used to cook up the entire OpenClaw, integrated via APIs, credentials, so many things to make it work. Now all of that is gone, right? This is it. So the agent has identified 4 action items. It looks like the workspace doesn't have access set up. Would you like me to do it? So I say, yeah, let's create an list for weekly action items on ClickUp, and that's it. So now it has got the ability to actually create lists on my ClickUp as well. Because my ClickUp was completely empty, it does not error out. It basically says that, okay, do you want me to create a list? So that's what the agent is going to do. So the next message from the agent is going to come. So you're basically talking to your agent. So yeah, it's created a list. Right now it's erroring out, but I'm sure soon it will debug it and it will work out. So now what has happened is Claude has told me that, hey, you don't have any spaces in your ClickUp account, and I don't have the ability to create spaces. Remember, we restricted it when we were doing it, so it cannot do it. So here, I'm just going to close this, and I've just created a ClickUp space quickly, and now this is done, right? So it's saying, hey, all done. I've created the list of this. I've put up due dates, and now let's go to our ClickUp account and see what's going on. There is a weekly action items list, and voila, all your 4 action items are here. Now, what you could do is you could link it to your Zoom MCP where the transcript comes, push it into the agent, and the agent then pushes it to ClickUp or Jira or wherever. And all of this is so quick. If you check, we started making this when 008, 308, and we hit a hiccup because there were no spaces in the account. So 3 minutes is all it took for us to build and deploy a production ready agent, right? Remember, production ready agent. Now, of course, once this is done, the session is done, I can keep playing around it, or I can stop this session, and then I can essentially save it. And then I'm just going to get a very simple API that I can use to actually deploy it to production. Let's see that. So so would you want any fixes? Add a default name, or I just want to rerun it as it is, or I just want to skip it. Right? That's it. So basically your call on how do you want to do it. And next is I'm going to integrate it. So now that I've run a session, I know that it's working well, I can actually run it. So it's going to give me a simple API endpoint, which is here. That's the sample code. I just need to integrate this code, and that's it. See how important or how easy it is now to run an entire Claude agent or to build an entire AI agent rather here. Now, of course, it requires a lot more MCPs to come in. Right now, I'm just going to go to credential vaults. I'm just going to open one credential vault. I'm just going to add a credential to show you what all tools are already there. So as you can see, we've got Airtable, Amplitude, Apollo, Asana, Atlassian, Base44, Bitly, Calendly, already so many MCPs. So literally anything that your enterprise uses, you can actually use it now using this. And if you have a custom server, that as well. The power is that now everything is coming on Anthropic. The entire infrastructure, the entire platform is coming on Anthropic. And this managed agents is going to take it even further, because now, as you saw, creating an AI agent is so damn easy. There is no requirement of API credentials, of authentications, of testing, of debugging, of observability, nothing. Everything happens in this one place. And imagine if WhatsApp comes into this. Imagine if, I don't know if they've actually integrated Telegram, but let me check that. They haven't. But imagine if WhatsApp opens up some kind of an MCP. Imagine Telegram, Slack is already open. There is so much power in this the moment you understand what this means. Now, just to quickly summarize what we did, this is the visual architecture of what we've done. At the top is the agent, which is, the agent name, the system prompt, and the config file. Then it moves to the environment, which is what kind of tools it's going to use, how it's going to use it, and how secure you want it to be. And then finally is the session, which is a live demo of the agent doing its thing before it gives you an API endpoint that you can integrate inside your product, right? So a very, very simple building blocks. This used to be very complicated because, the agent used to lie in some other place. The session used to happen somewhere else. The vault where you store the credentials and the environment used to happen somewhere else. So it was actually very, very difficult. But this graphic that you see on your screen, this basically culminates everything into one place and is able to create a really strong production grade agent within minutes. Now, as I promised, I'm not only going to talk about how amazing this is, I'm also going to tell you what are the costs and the limitations. The first thing is the actual cost. Now, the cost is around 8 cents per hour of an active session, which means that if your agent is lying idle, if you're not letting it do any work, that's free, right? So creating an agent is free, running and all of that is free. So only time when you actually incur costs is when the agent actually runs in production. And that's around 8 cents per hour, ridiculously less compared to the salaries you would pay to an employee to do the same work. The second is the cost of your token. So this is the same cost that you pay for your Anthropic APIs. So whatever model you use, Sonnet, Claude, the one you saw that the agent is going to use, that's standard, that gets deducted from your API credits. Nothing has changed there. The 8 cents is additional on top of that for running the agent. And this model cost is the same as what it was earlier. Now, finally, the most surprising parts, and that was the environments are actually free to maintain. Now, this actually surprised me because I expected this to be chargeable, maybe on a monthly fee or something, but this is absolutely free. So that's amazing for you to try out. Now, imagine basically small startups or a PM at Zerodha or a PM at Amazon or whatever. If you want to create an agent that runs maybe 2 hours a day at the end of the day or 1 hour a day at the beginning of the day, it's just what? 8 cents plus token cost. It's actually very cheap if you look at it. So it's disruptive yet again, and I feel that there are a lot of executionary jobs now that AI agent making is so simple that will get more and more automated, unfortunately, because of this coming into the play, and the cost has been kept very affordable by Anthropic. Now, some people of you might say that, hey, if I host it locally, it will not cost me anything. And you're absolutely right. You're right. If you run your own VPS, it's actually going to be costing you very less compared to this. But then you're not paying for running the agent to Claude. You're actually paying for the security. You're paying for the speed. You're paying for the misses in integration that might happen if you're doing it manually. So yes, of course, running it on a VPS is going to be much cheaper for you, but you are actually not paying for that. You're paying for the package that comes with whatever Anthropic is delivering in this case. Now, I've talked enough about what works and how great it is. Let me talk about some of the limitations as well. Now, the first limitation is that there are no scheduled triggers, which means that you have to manually hit the APIs or run a cron job to hit the API that comes out of the agent to actually trigger it. There isn't a scheduled trigger baked into the interface already, which means that there is a bit of coding required somewhere whenever you're building it. I believe that's a short-term drawback, and I believe that very soon that's also going to be part of the feature list inside this, but as of now, there are no scheduled triggers. The second is that there isn't a messaging interface as of now. Now, if you remember why OpenClaw shot up was because there was a messaging interface and you could use your own Telegram to actually do things via OpenClaw. That's not there as of now. The only interface available is on Claude's website, which we just saw. You cannot even enter a Slack message and trigger the agent. It's still very closed. But again, I personally believe that this is, with the speed at which Anthropic ships, this should be one of the P0 items that they do. And soon we will have a way by which either Telegram or Slack will allow you to trigger your agent or run your agent simply. The third is that there are no triggers built in, right? Very similar to the schedule problem. If you want to, hit this agent when a particular thing happens on ClickUp, for example, when a task is added on ClickUp, you want to hit an agent to do something, you cannot do that as of now. So just like there is no schedulers, there are no native webhooks as well, which you can call on different events, which makes your entire process more seamless. So that's also not there as of now. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, and probably something that Anthropic is going to fix very soon, is that your agents are stateless. They don't have memory, which means that every single time your agent runs, it runs right from scratch. It has no memory of what happened the last time. And as we've seen with OpenClaw, actually having memory is one of the biggest leverages that you can have from AI agents, and the managed agents on Anthropic don't have that as of now. Again, all of these four, I expect Anthropic to sort them out extremely fast, extremely soon. But as of now, they're not there. And they are the biggest drawbacks in your AI agents as of now. Now, finally in this video, to help all you product managers decide what to use, because I know this can be so overwhelming, I've created a simple matrix for you to understand what to use when. There are two axes. One is for complexity and the other is for control, right? If you require low control and low complexity, don't bother about managed agents or anything. Just go ahead and run an NA10 automation, a Zapier automation, a make.com automation. That's it. You don't have to run into an AI agent for the sake of it. All of these are more than enough if your task lies in this quadrant. Some examples are if you are a PM that wants to automate reports to an email of a customer or reports to an email of a product leader or whatever, simple NA10 automation is fine. You don't have to worry about doing all of this for just that. Bottom right is high complexity and lower control. This is where managed agents sit, because this is where the complexity is really high, but you don't want a lot of control over it, right? For example, if you are building a customer support triaging system into figuring out what there is, and there are millions of customer support requests, there is a lot of complexity, this is where managed agents are in the sweet spot. So this is where you can use managed agents from Claude. Now, top right is when there is high complexity and you require high control as well over the agent. Now, this is where you can actually use a hybrid version. You can use managed agents for the LLM as the brain, and then NA10, Zapier, make.com, etc. to trigger the APIs. This is exactly what Notion is doing right now in the video that they launched of how they're using managed agents, where the agent runs everything, but to trigger the agent, they use NA10, make.com, etc. because they require control. Finally, low complexity, but you require a lot of control. Now, this is where you don't really need agents. You can just write something on Claude code and use trigger.dev to trigger that code, and that's it, right? Very simple way to do it. You don't really need to worry too much about anything. Just go ahead and spin up something on Claude code and trigger it using trigger.dev. No need of a managed agent, no need of an NA10 or anything. Just very simple. At this point, you as a PM should be focusing on the bottom right quadrant. There is a lot of alpha in learning what a managed agent is and how it works. So it's very important for you to do that right now. Now, when I was saying that Anthropic is actually launching these features, I wasn't lying. A lot of them are actually in beta already. Let me talk about what's coming next from the house of Anthropic. First is outcomes. Basically, you define success for an AI agent. You define the success of a task, 100% completion, 100% compliance, something like that. You define a metric for the agent, and the agent's job is to achieve that metric consistently. So that adds a layer of intelligence to the AI agents that you build via Anthropic. Next is multi-agent orchestration. You would have seen that happen elsewhere as well when you build agents manually, but now it's going to be in a place where Anthropic is going to own the entire infrastructure. So it's going to be one head agent that's going to delegate it to some sub-agents. So basically, there may be a research agent, there may be a writer, there may be a triager, and then there is a head agent who delegates the task to each of them. So you can actually have a multi-agent orchestration that can figure out what's going on, and that is something that is in early beta preview right now. And finally, like I said, the most important thing or the most toughest thing with OpenClaw, etc., was the fact that they did not have memory. And that's what Anthropic is solving. They are trying to build persistent memory, which means that the agent remembers critical details from the last run that happened. And that is a game changer, because then it's essentially it's very, very close to repeating what a human brain can do, specifically when it comes to mundane tasks like these. Now, finally, before I wrap up this video, I want to tell what this means for you, the product manager. Number one, of course, prototype. The time to prototype has shrunk even further. This had come down from 3-4 weeks to less than a week, but now it's come down to hours. AI agents can build prototypes for you, can really go ahead and do all of these automations very quickly, which means the time that we product managers have to spend on doing all of the mundane stuff is shrinking every single day. Second is now you don't need a backend engineer to ship an agent. Earlier, you required a backend engineer to set up the infra, to set up the servers where the agent would run. Now, Anthropic is going to manage all of that. You don't need to do anything to run that agent. Anthropic is going to manage everything, hence the term managed agents. The last is that the build versus buy conversation has changed dramatically. Now, because of the security, the compliance, and the management that Anthropic offers, the whole thought process of buying a separate SaaS tool has flipped away, because running and managing an AI agent internally has become extremely cheaper. So the build versus buy conversation has a new flavor now because of all the managed agents that Anthropic has just launched. Essentially, what this means is that product managers who can build AI agents, ship them fast, reiterate, and build them even better are going to be more valuable than PMs who are not. You already know that. That's what the AI race is all about. So the best thing you do is, I've got an action plan for you right at the end of this slide. Just like always, go and stick to this action plan. This is going to be a game changer. It's going to give you a lot of alpha amongst other PMs who are still making AI agents by listening to YouTube tutorials like this one. Finally, here is your action plan. I try to end all my videos with an action plan so that you take away a simple action plan for you to execute. Step 1, spend $5 on Anthropic. This is one of the better $5 that you're going to spend. So go ahead and buy $5 worth of credit. It will not spend it. You're just going to need it to get started. Step 2, build one agent from a template. So there is a template for Notion to Slack. Build that agent, right? Most of it is already managed. All you need to do is log into your Notion and log into your Slack and have it run properly. Just see the orchestration. You will feel confident about it. Step 3 is now identify one workflow either for yourself or for your teammate. Go to your friend in content creation, go to your friend in marketing, go to your friend in tech. Speak to them about a workflow that they do every day. Does a content creator actually go ahead and check out the impressions that they get on their reels every day, every morning, and try to get an understanding of what it was or what worked and what didn't? For you, does triaging customer support tickets is a workflow that you do every week? Identify a workflow, no matter big, no matter small, a good workflow that you can automate using this AI agent. Now map this to the decision matrix that I showed, the Ayuda decision matrix, where it lies, right? Does it lie in high complexity, low control, low complexity, high control, low complexity? Wherever it lies in that matrix, try and find that sweet spot. Now, try and look at workflows that are more towards the low control, high complexity zone, which is where managed agents can do a lot of your job. So that's where you figure out those workflows and then simply integrate them. Very, very simple. It takes only 3 minutes to integrate your first AI agent, and it's completely secure. It's completely managed. You really don't have to do anything. This is your base, right? This action plan is not the end all. This is your base. Now your job is to continuously find workflows and automate. 5 great workflows automated is when you feel that, okay, now I know everything. And then of course, stay tuned for more, because Anthropic is going to come with quick releases on this feature. This is a gold mine for Anthropic. They're going to build a lot on top of it. So stay updated on it. I mean, follow me, follow other creators, follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, wherever, so that you ensure that you are up to date with all the new things that are coming in the market whenever this comes in. Now, finally, if you want some more hands-on help, if you want to work with me individually, you can check out my program. It's on ayuda.co.in. It's one of the highest rated product management programs in the world. Go check out that brochure and let me know if you'd be interested. And I'll be more than happy to connect with you and understand your problems and then help you ship AI features, non-AI features, basically everything product management. See you the next time.